Hey guys, next little project. Make you wonder, what in the world am I doing with an engine block? Well, I've been wanting to try this for a very long time, and this is my opportunity. Many of you guys may know what this is. A nice Ford. I guess it's a big block. Looks pretty good size. I'm not a Ford guy, so I don't know. But anyway, we're here to work on it. Now, what does a welding channel have to do with engines? Well, this baby has got a crack right here, right in this area. So how in the world are we gonna fix it? Are we gonna silicone bronze it? Are we gonna TIG weld it, MIG weld it, stick weld it? What are we gonna do? Well, I've been wanting, like I said, wanted to try this process for a very long time, and so I'm finally here. A bunch of friends of mine have done this, but I haven't. And so stick around and we will see what we're gonna do. So hang tight. All right, so as I mentioned, this has a crack here, but there's no telling how long the crack is. So we're gonna use some dye penetrant and developer to determine what we're up against. And so we can go ahead and clean that area up a little bit, get some brake parts cleaner, clean all the oil out of there, the antifreeze type water, and see how long of an issue we have. I drilled these holes in it, just presuming those were the ends, but it could be further. So let's see how much more it goes past those dots. All right, so I let that sit for actually an hour. Had to go get some lunch. So now that we got that set, hopefully that dye penetrant went in there pretty nicely. And use a developer. And these things, I hate these things, they always clog up. Okay, so I'm not getting the results I'd like, as in super visible. I do see some lines in there, and then a tiny little line over here that goes this way. I don't know if you guys can see it. And so I'm just a little concerned that, you know, I'll miss it. So what I will do from here though is I'll work my way through those cracks first, and between those cracks first, and see if anything else develops. And so let me show you the package of the things that I got. Okay, so these are the things I got. Pretty neat setup. We're going to be using this. A little countersink. Okay. instructions. This is from a company called Lock and Stitch. I've seen their work before. Really great stuff. Really neat things that help fix this cast iron, broken cast iron, without affecting the material itself. So if you've seen these before, they're really neat kits. They have different types of screws, obviously. These are the ones that we're going to be using right here. If you look closely, they have a tiny little bevel that seals off the edge, and then there's some that has a taper this way. So each has a particular use, and each works for a different, here you go, different application. So that's what we're going to do. Okay, so I'm just going to start with the ones, let me see. I'm going to start with the ones that I can see and go from there. So let me put this stuff away and start getting things set up. All right, so these are very interesting pins. If you look at them really closely, these have a little shoulder that they grab into there, and these threaded, these threads, I should say, are not standard straight threads. They got a hook, so they're hooked in this way, and they create a kind of a grab situation. So when you put these in these holes, after you thread and tap it, I should say, as you tighten it down, this shoulder will snap off at the proper torque. And so they give you a drilling, tapping, cutting fluid, and a specific like a thread locker type fluid as well. And so as you drill the holes and then tap it, do a little recess. This here creates the recess that is mimicking this section right here. You will recess it in there a little bit, put the thread compound, tighten it. This will snap off. Portion of this will stick up above the surface of this material. Then you sand that down, and then you can clean that up or prepare it for paint. So being as how this is not a straight line, they normally have a fixture so that you can have evenly spaced screws and they overlap them. But in this case, since it's a curved line, you have to do it all by hand. And so once I put this first one in and break it off and sand it down a little bit, then what I would do is I would drill right up against this edge here, the neck of this one here, and it'll overlap this screw. This screw is not so hard that you can't drill. It's soft enough to where you can, and they're supposed to overlap so that they create a sealing surface against each other all the way throughout the length of the crack. So really neat setup, and I'm looking forward to using it. So let's drill that hole and get started. They gave me 2 drill bits, and they recommended using a clutch setup on your drill so that if in case you drill through and hit something, you don't snap the drill bit. Same thing with the taps. So use a clutch setup, and that way it stops if there's any binding. Just like that. as with anything, when you start a project, something always happens, and my hose busted, so I ended up making cutting a new end and putting that barb in there. But instead of using a regular hose clamp, I'm not sure if you've seen these things before. This is clamp tight tool. It uses a wire that comes around here and it tightens pretty good. Very similar to a hose clamp, but a lot slimmer and sleeker. And whereas a hose clamp's got that big bulky end on it, of course this doesn't. They sell they sell a stainless steel wire that they use, but I like using just regular old concrete tie wire. Works pretty good. And so basically you just create a loop out of this. Concrete tie wire is not the best, but it seems to be pretty strong. Strong enough for what I use it for, at least. Oh, come on. Of course, I'd be struggling when I'm trying to show this thing off to you guys. Basically, you put this guy in here and this hook right here and wrap this around here. I didn't make this long enough, but as you start cranking on this guy here, you start pulling on these wires and kind of straighten them out as you're going. It's not the straightest. I mean, I'm not putting it on the straightest. I like to do it where the wires are just flush with the surface of the material, which is the rubber. You know, it's not straight, but it still holds. Pull a little tight, cranking on these wires, wiggling it back and forth so it centers itself up pretty good. Very good. Now kind of fold these over just for a little bit extra tightening. Loosen this guy. And cut these wires about a quarter inch long or so. Now these little tails that you're left with, you just fold them in towards themselves. Like that. See, don't catch on anything, don't put on anything. They work great. So if you want to, you can put some tape on it or some kind of maybe that hockey tape, or what do they call it, friction tape or some sort. Wrap it up on there, and that way it doesn't ever catch on you. But anyway, let me put this back together and I'll get back with you in a second on that. Okay, got this sealant, put it on the threads. Okay, that's the first one there. I'm gonna put a little center punch in this, next to this other one. Start again. Now let's wash, rinse, and repeat. Okay, so that looked pretty good there. I did see some cracks down here, or what looked to be a crack, so I'm gonna go ahead and spray the dye penetrant and run it again. That seems to have covered what I needed to cover. I could have done a better grinding with a little flat disc, but I don't have one of those small right angle flat discs. So let me re-dye penetrant this side here and see if we got any more cracks. All right, so that seemed to have sealed up really well. So now I find another little speck here. It's about 1 inch long. That's all that seems to be showing up. So I'll go ahead and do those just for kicks. Can't really tell if it's a crack or not, but may as well, you know, preemptively make sure. And once those are done, I'll clean it off again and do it one more time just for to make sure that it doesn't have a problem again. So let me, it's about 1, 2, 3, maybe 5 more pins or so. So let me high speed that for you guys. All right, guys, well, that looks like it'll do it. It came out pretty good. Got some little grind marks there, but probably hit it with the needle scale a little bit more. But man, oh man, it turned out pretty good. This new little setup from Lock and Stitch worked great. I'm pretty excited to, do more of these. I have a friend, Bare Knuckle Binder, on Instagram and YouTube, who's got a cylinder head off an old International engine that we're going to try and fix up as well. So this is my first one here. I hadn't done these before, but it looks pretty straightforward. Oh yeah, safety gloves. But it looks pretty straightforward, not so bad. You do have to be careful. You could strip the threads. I did that on one, so I had to go over multiple times and put more bolts and screws in there to overlap that. So that worked out. But for the most part, I did put some dye penetrant again, and that's where I saw this one starting to crack or look to be a crack. So I did that, did it again, and it looks good. So I'm pretty happy. I'm sure the customer's gonna be happy, and I'm happier because it worked. So we're all learning something new, and be nice to get set up for this so it's easier the next time. I struggled a little bit, but first time's always harder. So anyway, I hope you guys learned something, and I know I did. I know that I will be doing crack repairs like this instead of welding them, because this was really nice. So thanks again for the support, and I guess we'll catch you guys on the next one.